Oh, there we go, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, that was, yeah, the when we did all of these collaborations for the mixtape, I was just recording anywhere. So I did some of Idol's stuff was done in Bristol. But yeah, that boat is called Light Ship, and that's opposite the O2, and it's highly recommended. Yes, I mean recording on a boat is doesn't get old. No, I mean it was actually Dave that decided to do his solo stuff. Actually, that was the reason we stopped doing Tonga. But I think it's good. I mean, it's like every party or gig, it's better when it is a genuine celebration by the people on the stage. But obviously, if you're a professional touring musician, if you make every show a genuine celebration, then you will die. So there's always that, like, but yeah, no, Tonga was a real like journey, I think, for all of us. I think we all learned a lot from the experience and from the people. You can't avoid people when you're playing in such tiny venues week after week. You can't avoid people, so it definitely was a sort of rebirth in a way for me. Not always. No, I mean most of my music has been really like socially distant, just me in a room on my own. That's how I made original Pirate Material and all that stuff. And I think that's quite a pure thing that we need now more than ever. I think actually rap in general has become way more introverted than it was, say, when I started. The sort of SoundCloud thing is basically neat, winning. But yeah, so this was a new thing for me, working with so many people in studios, making a Streets album in a studio was or a commercial studio was completely new to me, and it couldn't have happened without Tonga and without the connection that I'd made to so many artists. Whether or not I ended up working with them on the mixtape, it's that sort of way of being around people that was definitely new for me, yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely that is a thing, yeah, for sure. And the way that I dealt with it, in a way, was to just really get stuck in and just do a ton of like really lots of nightclubs. I mean, I've just been in so many nightclubs for so long that you start to you have like a relationship to music, which I guess is kind of like young people somehow, where it's like you're sort of in the playground, it's like a nightclub's like a playground. It's like that tune's shit or that tune's good. It's like you can't avoid it. And I think there's a reason why young people like make the best music, because there's a sort of there's a harshness to their experience that translates and is more entertaining. It was definitely been a rebirth for me, being in nightclubs. Well, it was not a prerequisite, but yeah, that's what it comes down to in the end, is that they need to have an element of, I guess, like sort of like realism, you know, which isn't reality really, but yeah, it was kind of obvious really that if people were making, you know, if the rappers were like pure street rappers, that wasn't going to work. Or if it was like glamorous sort of music, it's just, I guess you don't want to stretch it too much and make it difficult for everyone. But in terms of like reaching out to the people on this mixtape, it was fairly straightforward. As for what came back, that was another thing. But yeah, it was straightforward. The sort of the dream list was fairly straightforward. I just know how bad my memory is. I can't tell you how many times I've come up with the greatest song ever written and assumed that I would remember it after I got home, and then spent the whole day thinking, fuck, what was that greatest song ever written that I thought of earlier? And the more that happens, the more you realise that wherever you are, it's better to just like record it into your phone, and then you can realise that it actually wasn't a very good idea. Well, all of them really. I mean, everything I come up with, maybe not voice notes, but I just write a lot of stuff down. You know, if I think of something that feels clever at the time, I write it down. I've got millions of notes and stuff. And actually, when I'm making a song, that's all I'm really doing is just sort of like putting all the stuff I've written down together and see if it sounds any good. And if it doesn't, I get some more stuff from the stuff that I wrote down. I used to be really, I thought that was what I was there to do really, was to sort of, and I think it definitely made me a better songwriter, like putting all those limitations on myself. But I don't think you end up with a really good album if you say it's all going to be like this or it's all going to be like that, because ultimately people want 10 good songs, and how you arrive at that doesn't really matter. But yeah, all of that sort of like concept album stuff is kind of in me, and oddly, I genuinely didn't have any. I mean, just like making a Streets album with 10 people in 2020 was just felt so much of a steep hill to climb that I wasn't going to restrict it even further by saying, you know, it's all going to be about, I'm not going to talk about the modern times, or I'm going to only, you know, it's just like, but weirdly, once the album was finished, people were like, well, even I was like, actually, there's a lot of mobile phones on this. I mean, there's tons. But all they really were the things that I thought about. The things that I didn't get rid of ended up being all about mobile phones, but because they resonate with me somehow.
Yeah, I mean, are you on your phone a lot yourself? Do you on social media that much, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on my phone a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of work. I mean, only in the sense that in it being a good thing, you know, it's like everything, like, you know, it's like your own personal TV show, and it's your PR, isn't it? Twitter is just a sort of PR, daily PR press release. So I remember when things were harder, and I like it now that they're easier. But I definitely struggled with like being addicted to the phone and ending up being really stressed. I had that, but I had that with my like BlackBerry, basically. I mean, the first time I got like seriously stressed, from the phone, was BlackBerry days. So I've kind of got a better relationship since then. I've wanted to make a film for, well, at least 10 years. I've been directing a lot. Since I stopped doing the streets, I've been directing. I started off doing music videos for other people, and then I ended up doing bits of like branded content and sort of advert things. So I wouldn't be the director I am now had I not done that, really. So, and in a way, I've been working on the film. I just haven't actually been working on the film. But yeah, I've got no idea what I'm doing, really. I'm just trying to do the right thing right now, and I knew that I didn't have anything to say musically, so I stopped making music.
Yeah, that was actually going to be one of the questions I asked, is like in that sort of hiatus, was there anything you wanted to say, but you just sort of felt like...
No, I mean, everything I'm doing now, I haven't really stopped doing. So I've been producing, I've been everything that I'm doing the streets, apart from the lyrics. I hadn't really done lyrics really in the bit between, really. I mean, I did a thing called Darker the Shadow, but that was kind of like a warm-up, really, to the streets. And all the way through Darker the Shadow, I knew we were going to be doing streets. But it was I just didn't really want to tell anyone, but I needed to somehow work it all out in public, or to have an element of like people in the equation. Yeah, so I didn't know, but it's easy to look back on it and go, that was the plan, but there was no plan. There's never been a plan. Well, I've been in my front room now for 16 weeks, so weirdly that is completely escapist. I mean, it's like, it doesn't really get any more, because I think, to me, escapism is like getting away from people. But I think that's why a lot of musicians are pretty socially distant characters as a general rule.